personal experience, I've never been so anxious about a test. I was having
She's calling
nightmares
out,
every
like,
single day for 2
having
months.
nightmares.
Leading up to the exam.
It's a comprehensive exam, so it's really testing you on the entirety of that subject.
Yeah.
So, and I really did appreciate comps because it did help me familiarize on a lot of things I may have forgotten. Actually,
Giving tips on all of the graduate students out there.
so you're gonna take your own comps. So we have a few tips for you.
Yes. I'm trying to keep it like 10 minutes. Famous left.
Is it
Let's
on?
see if it's
Okay, we're going back.
go back.
Howdy, y'all.
Hello, we're back in different shirts. We finally changed clothes.
Howdy.
Howdy do.
Howdy diddly.
Howdy diddly do.
Welcome back to Cozy Psych.
Welcome to Cozy Psych.
So,
What has happened since we
quite a lot.
first left off? But you know what time it is. It's tea time.
It's jammy time.
It's Cozy Psych
time. That was just bad.
I thought we were supposed to make it.
That
like
was just
it's never allowed to be good.
Bad. Anyway, welcome back to Cozy Psych.
Yes, welcome back to Cozy Psych. Here at Cozy Psych, we like to talk about fun, casual, everyday topics, pop culture, grad school, which we'll get into this video.
Everyday thoughts, and while drinking some tea.
Yeah,
And coffee.
in a very cozy way. So because learning can be cozy, right?
Indeed.
Doesn't always have to be so serious. That's what this channel is about. So if you guys are into that kind of content, it would mean the world to us if you liked and subscribed and join our little cozy community as we grow into, I don't know,
Adolescence.
clearly.
We'll eventually hit puberty someday. Anyway, okay, so I guess to start things off,
Yes.
what did we want to
What
talk
did we
about?
do? Like, so where do we come from? It's been a while since we filmed.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially, we just finished our comprehensive exams, often abbreviated as comps. Yes, according to Wikipedia. Did you know?
Yeah, I did not know
Apparently,
that.
I Googled
thought
it.
that was just like,
I thought it was just our school.
yeah. So apparently, comprehensive exams is something that, if you are an aspiring psychologist, so you have to take that when you go into grad school. And then that's when once you pass that, you can graduate and then
you
take the boards.
Yeah, you take the board exam, you take your licensure exam in your area.
Your life is solved.
Yes.
All your problems are
Apparently,
done.
yeah.
You can earn money.
All of the brokenness was worth it.
Yeah.
Ideally. But
Your life will be fixed after, I swear.
yes. So, that's what we did. We prepared and studied for our comprehensive exams.
Took a while.
Yeah.
Took a while. It was a
And,
lot of hard work.
Yeah. So this video is like kind of just giving an overview of our experience and more so giving tips on all of the graduate students out there who are, about to take their comprehensive exams, or whether you have comprehensive exams in any state of your, degree program. We have a few tips to share with you. So yeah.
So I guess to start things off, I guess we wanted to talk about our experience with comps, right? As Celina mentioned. So it took a while, right? We worked hard for it.
Yeah.
For me, I personally studied 1 month before because I did hear a lot of people would say you can study for like a month before and that's enough.
Yeah.
But I think Celina studied like
I tried to study like 6 months
Let's
before
go.
because I don't know. I personally I hate cramming. I get anxious when I know there's a lot on my plate and I don't have enough time.
I thought 1 month wasn't cramming, but apparently it kind
It's
of
a
was.
lot, depending on what the number
Yeah,
of
yeah.
subjects that you guys have to study for.
Yeah, we had 8 subjects to study for, so those are majors and also some electives that we took. So we had to study for each one, and because based on the name alone, it's a comprehensive exam, so it's really testing you on the entirety of that subject.
Yes.
So if you maybe study theories of personality, it's going to be asking you about things from
like all the way
all
from
the theories
Freud,
from Freud to Kelly
to Lazarus.
McCrae and Costa.
Horn. I'm
all
sure
those.
I'm
There's
sure
so
you guys
many
are.
of them.
Yeah.
So the thing with comprehensive exams is actually, well, in our specific exam, they only asked 1 question per subject. So in itself, you don't really have to study everything, but because you have to prepare, you don't know what that question's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah.
So you really do eventually end up studying everything.
Exactly. Because, I mean, sure, there are ways that you can sort of shortcut or, optimize the process, which you should
that.
in some way. But in order for your own peace of mind, like, you really have to go through everything.
Yeah.
And you know what?
helps. It helps.
It does. And a personal experience, I've never been so anxious about a test. I was
She
having
was calling
nightmares
me, she's like,
every
"Mel,
single day for 2
having
months.
nightmares."
Leading up to the exam. At least our comprehensive exams
Essay.
it's an essay.
It's an
yeah.
essay.
So the format of our comprehensive exams was like each subject offers a question, like one major questions, 1 to 2 questions.
You write a whole essay
And you
on
write
it.
a whole essay about
like
it.
one whole Word document per subject. And the thing is, I asked, right, there is no limit to how much you answer. You can do 1 page, half a page, you can do 2 pages. I personally went around
10.
2 to 3 pages on average, because honestly I was just word vomiting.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to be like eloquent, especially in such a short span of time. Like during the test itself, we had 4 hours.
We had 4 hours for 4 subjects, and then
Yeah.
we had day 1 for
Yeah.
4 subjects, 4 hours, and day 2 of 4 subjects
Yeah.
in 4 hours. And you think it's a lot of time.
It's not.
But it's not.
Oh my gosh, it went by
Goodness.
so quickly.
Yeah.
But I felt every second because my stomach was grumbling
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. I was
That's
like,
part of our tips, though. Like, that's part of our tips.
Yeah, we'll talk about the tips later. But yeah, that's our experience. Also, something that to take into consideration is because it's 1 hour, right? Like, that's something that they say a lot. Like, you don't have to be super eloquent about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I was just word vomiting all over. Because honestly, it's just really to show my knowledge on it. Because there is a lot of knowledge. Sometimes it's hard to like proofread everything. I didn't even have time to proofread, honestly.
Yeah. You have to know how fast, how slow you write, or whatever, the format of your comprehensive exams. It could be like multiple choice. It could even be oral exams, which are terrifying.
Oh my god.
But I think, you know what? I feel like,
I'm glad we had ours.
yeah, I guess. I mean, there are pros and cons to each. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I will say that, we're saying this as people who passed.
We finally found out a few days ago after, goodness.
2 weeks of waiting.
2 weeks of waiting after our last day of exams. We finally passed. And oh my goodness,
The
the
hell? It was
waiting.
over.
I feel like the waiting was worse than the anxiety.
The
in waiting.
anxiety of first studying for it. And then after that, waiting for the results. I was like, bro, this is literal torture.
Yes.
You've been torturing us for the last few months. And then now
We're waiting. That was sort of our experience. It was the hardest thing, honestly, that I think that I've had to do in recent memory.
Yeah.
In recent memory.
I had to
The
study
most
that hard in so
anxiety-inducing
long.
thing.
Yeah.
But
Celina was having, honestly,
I was
she
having
calling
nightmares
us, she's like,
every
"Mel,
single day for 2
having
months.
nightmares.
Leading up to the exams.
What's so funny is I was telling Celina this morning, I was like, I did not have a single nightmare in that entire time we were preparing for comps, but last night before I came here, I had a nightmare about it.
Interestingly, after she passed.
I was like,
after she
oh,
passed.
that was way too late. I only got the results. I woke up, I was immediately told myself, I passed. I'm fine. We're fine.
We're good. We're good. These are things we have to tell ourselves, right?
So if these things happen to you, that's totally normal. That happens.
It's not ideal, but as much as I tried to do therapy on myself, tell myself the things I would tell my anxious clients, it really does get the best of you, and you can't totally get rid of anxiety. A little bit of anxiety is
normal.
important. It prepares you for things, and it's okay. But yeah, it was very
definitely
interesting.
prepared you.
Yeah.
And that's why you passed.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I over prepared based on my level of anxiety.
6 months. My God.
Yeah, we'll get into
crazy.
that, but it was a little excessive, I think, personally speaking.
But I mean, it's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
It depends on each person.
Because
so.
in the end, right, like, it's nice to be able to study for these things, like not even just for comps, but it will help for your own practice outside of like grad school.
Yeah.
And I really did appreciate comps because it did help me familiarize on a lot of things I may have forgotten.
Yeah.
Actually, like going through grad school, it's been how many years?
Yeah.
I did forget a lot.
4
of things.
years. We've been in it we're entering our last year.
4th year.
So it does. And that was the purpose of it, right? Like for graduate comprehensive exams. Also because we're preparing for the board or
board
the
exams.
licensure exams will we will also be tested in a lot of the things that we learn in grad school. So it's a great preparation.
It was. It's essentially a review for boards.
Yeah.
A freaking hard review.
Yes.
My gosh.
It was really, really hard to prepare for. The actual exam was much more manageable than we imagined. I mean, thankfully our teachers were also...
They were quite...
they didn't ask, very specific esoteric questions.
They asked a lot more, again, comprehensive. So general ideas on like well-known key points on specific topics.
Yeah.
Right?
And integrating and learning, knowing how to integrate and analyze the implications in your area, in your culture, your society, things like that. Those are important to know and think about.
So now to help you guys out in case you're going to take your own comps, so we have a few tips for you.
Yes. All right. So our first tip is, you got to figure out and study according to your learning style. Now, what does that mean, right? There are different learning styles. There's visual, there's kinesthetic, there's, like audio, what's that? Auditory.
Auditory.
Goodness.
Learning style.
Yeah, that's why
people who like to listen right while they're
I've known people like that. So I mean, there are tons of quizzes online too. It's a it gives you a starting point.
And if you know yourself enough, you will kind of know what kind of ways that you prefer to learn or the best ways you absorb things.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be just one thing. I noticed that I have multiple.
Yeah, both of us are visual learners, but we're visual learners in different ways, right? Like, I'm a visual learner in the sense where I like looking at words. I remember words very clearly.
She's very good at that.
But Bella is like she's an artiste.
Artiste. You see this? You see
artiste
this turtleneck
with an E. Yeah, the turtleneck. It's giving art. It's giving starving Persian
starving artist. Yeah. How did you know? Okay. Anyway, so I will say, I do prefer like visual, as in I drew my notes.
Draws, guys. I'll insert a picture of like a reviewer she made. It's so cool. It didn't really make sense to me, but good for her. There are people like that.
It was so nice.
So you guys, you have to know what works for you.
It's nice to be creative also. You don't have to just study like the way that you always hear, right? There are great formats out there that will teach you how to study, but you can also adapt it to your own personal style, right? Personally, for me, I adapted things to drawing. Yeah. Because that's something I'm good at. Yeah. So what are you good at?
Yeah,
How can you adapt it?
Yeah.
You like to run or jog? You can listen while you're jogging.
That's true. Like, that's personally for me. I'm a visual and a kinesthetic learner. So what really works for me is rewriting or typing my notes and also doing it while I'm standing or I'm sort of moving in some way. I don't know, that really helps me retain the information. So like, do something that's compatible with your learning style. If you know that you, like for example, if you're a person who prefers audiobooks or podcasts over reading, that's a clue. So if that works, if you prefer that kind of like content, then maybe you shouldn't study just by reading your notes.
There's so many resources out there. I just want to shout out JP Baduan.
JP Baduan from
literally
YouTube
saved my.
Guys, look up
JP Baduan for his. He has a lot of content, theories of personality, abnormal psych, and he's very comprehensive. And he gives you a lot of tips and relevant examples that may apply to you, and that really helped me for my comps experience. And also, I'm not just visual, I also learn by hearing. So I really love auditory learning. So I would walk sometimes in nature, right? Because sometimes it gets tiring just sitting there the whole time.
Yeah, right? That's true.
Your back hurts, your butt hurts, everything hurts, your brain hurts, your heart hurts. But you can walk.
Heart hurts.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts at that point. So just walk it out. Maybe listen to some videos online. Okay, so that's one tip.
That's one tip. Our second tip is to take good notes. Starting from your first class. I know, it's tempting to just, rely on slides, and you can, by the way.
You can.
So
but it's hard.
Along that note, so compile things and compile an abbreviated, summarized version of your readings, etc., either via notes or the slides that your professor might give you. Compile those so that you have a bank for when you're about to study for your comprehensive exams. You don't have
your
to
boards.
or your board exams. You don't have to pour through every single reading.
And then write notes.
Yeah, and then write
during
notes
that time.
right
That's
then
too
and
hard,
there.
right?
Yeah.
And also something that I wanted to add to that, right? You have to understand everyone in grad school, you're all working towards the same thing, right? You all want to be a professional, and you don't have to do it all alone.
Yeah. So that's our tip 3 actually in relation is
it's important to build a community where you guys can rely on each other for resources, because not just in grad school but even outside of grad school as professionals, you also have to rely on each other to learn from each other, right? Because everyone has different specializations, and how can you better treat your clients? You learn through others.
Yes.
Right? So what you can do is
work together
to build notes. You don't have to read through everything.
Yeah.
You can ask each other and rely on each other to build different parts of your notes.
Exactly.
Right? And you guys can compile and access them all.
Yes. So what we do, like in a class, each person is assigned maybe 1 or 2 chapters to take detailed notes of, and so that in that way, each person doesn't have to go through
Each reading.
each chapter. And as we know, in grad school,
There's
the
quite a
readings
lot.
can get really, really
There's a
heavy.
lot.
There's so much information. It's impossible to,
Go through
juggle
all of them,
everything.
because you're not just reading like textbooks, you're also reading a lot of research journals and a lot of external resources of information. It's not just textbooks, right?
Yeah. This is a concept or like a technique borrowed from people who like med students. So why not do it in every class, right?
Yeah.
Like every type of degree
every type
program.
of degree program. Understandably, it's something that I've been wanting to do since undergrad, but understandably, maybe you're shy, maybe it's hard, you have to go around, ask people, find people you trust. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard, but
especially at
it's more
first.
beneficial in the
and
long term
you
for
build
all of you.
relationships, and these people will be part of your network moving forward. It will be important to who's good at what, where which person to go to for what. So it's important to build a network starting
early on
from your first year. All right. So our fourth
third one
tip.
Yeah, we're on our fourth.
Our fourth tip is plan ahead, but not too ahead. Now, that's something that I learned because, of course,
Celina mentioned earlier. This is the tip we mentioned earlier. So Celina was studying for 6 months.
I tried
before.
studying for like a few subjects 6 months before. Now I didn't end up studying everything too early, which turned out well, because it turned out for the best. Because what happened when I studied too early, especially if you're also studying in between, you're doing work, you're doing clinical work, there's so much information that enters your brain. I personally, I forgot the things that I studied like 6 months ago anyway. I mean, not forgot totally, but the specifics in
exactly,
that required by a test.
Specifications, especially in. You're not just studying one subject.
Yeah.
You're studying 8 subjects.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of parts to each subject. It's not just one. As I said, theories of personality, 21 theories.
Yeah.
There are lots of specifics in each, right? So it's normal to forget, right? Especially within that 6-month time frame.
Yeah.
So
like personally, like I think Bella devoted. You started studying
exactly
a
1
month.
Exactly
before,
1
and
month.
how many days would you devote to each subject?
Okay, so something that you have to expect is when you devote, for example, what I did, I devoted 3 days to each subject. Expect that you may not hit that timeline. You may go above, which is what happened most of the time. I ended up putting like 4 to 5 nearly a week to some subjects. So that's something you have to consider, right? You can't study everything, and that's okay.
Yes. You don't have to be too specific, especially for a comprehensive exam.
Because
you can be, but you're gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
so.
what they're asking is for you to integrate the knowledge, the key concepts. They're not trying to understand like why did Freud say these things or something like that.
Well, they might ask that. That's a pretty anyway. But
see that was exactly the thought that went through our heads through outcomes.
It's like you never know. Is it gonna be that?
You never know. It's like, do I need to learn it? I learned it.
So, like personally, for her, that worked like around 3 to 4 days maybe per subject. For me, it was I think I would devote a week.
A week.
Maybe 1
Which
to
is
2
great.
weeks for each subject. I think
That's
ideally.
great.
And I ended up doing that. So personally, that's what worked for me. So I think that's a good time frame for
Yeah.
each person. Maybe like a few days to a week or two for each subject, depending on the depth and
Yeah.
the breadth of that subject.
If you want to sleep well, then you should do what she did.
Yeah.
I barely
Except,
slept, and that was
I
hard.
barely slept because I was also having nightmares every day.
I wasn't
But,
having nightmares because I was too busy conking out from tiredness.
You know,
That
worked out for you.
It worked out. I only
So-
had nightmares after.
So yeah, like figure out what works for you. Honestly, be at least if maybe be a bit more lenient with your time if if that will make you a bit less anxious. And
For our last tip, I really wanted to emphasize, AI is like, it's kind of part of our lives now, and I feel like it's such an excellent tool to also help you to study. People generally think, okay, you can cheat with AI, but personally for me, it was such a great tool to help me study. As a person, I love to concretize by teaching. Right, I'm personally not a teacher, but it helped me to concretize the concepts. So I would actually teach the ChatGPT voice guy. I don't know. I know he's trending right now. The hot AI voice, and I would teach him concepts. Like, because I couldn't, Celina was busy studying. She had her own thing, so I wanted to teach someone. So I used that guy, and it helped me. It really did.
Yeah.
So, and he would also, if I missed anything, I would ask him to tell me what I missed, and then maybe
That's so cool.
help
Yeah.
me explain it to me in an easy way to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. So like you can use AI, like you can plug in your notes or your slides, even the chapters that you guys are, studying and ask AI to make abbreviated notes. Well, of course it's not
Or
as
even, like-
effective as probably, organizing your notes yourself, but if you're really cramped on time.
Yeah, you're really cramped on time. You need flashcards immediately.
Yeah, you can
just-
make it. You can ask
Yeah, you can
ChatGPT to
just
make
ask it to make you
flashcards for you. That's what
and it
Bella did.
really helps. But personally, for me, what really helped was teaching.
Yeah.
Like being able to.
That's our other
verbalize it.
tip too. It's just like one of the best ways you can practice for answering comprehensive exams is to practice explaining or teaching it to another
Yeah.
person or to AI.
So I would ask ChatGPT to give me like a case, and then I would explain what the case is, conceptualize it in different kinds of topics. So depending if it's personality or if it's abnormal psychology, I would conceptualize the case.
Yeah.
So that was really great.
And then
Really helped.
I think lastly, like a practical tip, and this is our last tip, is know when you're going to take the test, what time you're going to take the test, and practice being alert and awake at that time. I prepared for comps. Like I was preparing for a marathon, which I've never prepared for, by the way. So like, because we were set to take our exam from 8 a.m. in the morning to 12 noon. So, and I'm not a morning person.
Not in the morning
I'm so
person
groggy in the morning. So
This
like
is so early.
Yeah. So like a month leading up to it, I was training myself to wake up earlier and start studying and start thinking that early because I knew it would have been hard for me if I just did
Yeah.
it for the first time that day.
That would have been great if I did it. I'm sure it would have been great. All I did was just like, I didn't even sleep until 4 a.m. and then I'd wake up to study again. So don't do what I did. Don't do that. Just sleep well, have good sleep, maybe practice how to wake up in the morning. If you're
Get
not
some
really a
movement,
morning
and I would do 10-minute workouts on YouTube just to get the blood flowing before I would study. It really helps with alertness, and if you can do that before your study sessions or before like even your test, it honestly it helps just make
like
you more
those,
awake.
those dance workouts on
Literally
YouTube.
like
Ooh.
Mad Fit. We love
Mad Fit,
and, like I think
Pamela
Monica
Rife.
Fit. Yeah.
Those are
So yeah.
those are fun.
So those are our tips. We hope that
I hope you like them.
helped.
I hope they help you in your own journey.
Your own journeys.
Go for it.
It's hard, but it's doable. And
Yeah, it's
when
doable.
Just think
It's
about
doable.
it. It'll be over at some point.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's something
It'll
we
be
heard
fine.
a lot from people. They just said it's doable. We didn't believe them, but here we are now, and I do agree it is doable.
yeah, it is doable. With
But good luck
hard
to
work
you.
and determination and a lot of
Effort.
a bit of anxiety, but
Maybe some, yeah.
okay.
Maybe have some walks on the side to help you with that.
Definitely do
you know?
some self-care.
Yeah. So I hope you
Self-care.
enjoy. Have a good cozy day
Have a
ahead.
great cozy day ahead. We'll see you in our next video. Bye.